friends. I have I've been looking at how it changes our decision-making process when we're fearful. And I've been looking at it from the inside out because I've experienced various levels of fear, and I found myself looking for solutions so that I wouldn't experience the fear, which is kind of the system that's been developed in which we live. The world that you experience and that I experience, that others experience, is experienced through individual lenses and yet group thinking. So when the group holds a thought to be true, then they find their group that agree with their thought. And it could be any group. It could be a religious group. It could be a spiritual group. There seems to be a difference between those two. It could be a political group. Could be a what's right diet group. It could be the alternative health care versus the traditional medical care group. And all these things are beliefs. And we can base our lives on the beliefs that we have. And beliefs have been defined by my other dimensional teachers as stories that have emotional content. And as long as we're basing our lives on beliefs defined as stories that have emotional content, then what we're basing our decisions on are what mental images we're making up to explain what we're feeling. And so I'm here sitting today in a coolish room upstairs of a house, which has, I'm sure, which at times is a hothouse. It has a fan in one side of the room and an air conditioner in the other side of the room. And it's approaching winter. You know, winter in Michigan tends to begin early. Sometimes it's not as, 3 feet of snow kind of winter, but so when we feel this deep rumbling discomfort like I am feeling right now, we can tend to run around until we dissipate the energy that's bringing our discomfort to the surface. Or we can accept that our body is attempting to bring something into our awareness, and we can have the willingness to find out what that is. And even though I've had excellent training, whenever this happens, I want to run away. And eventually I don't. And eventually I face whatever it is I'm feeling and let the emotional intensity rise and all the stories that come along with it. And through my training, I've learned that I can do a process, which is this: putting the emotions in the right hand and the story in the left. So let's do a story right now so I can give you an actual example. So the story is that I have a friend, and that's quite a story. I have a friend who's been good to me, a friend who says that he sees me as his guru. And a friend who has lost enough mental capacity that he might be a danger to himself and possibly to others. And I want to help him. And I want to help him because of not only what a wonderful friend he has been for me, but the feeling is, the story is, that if I don't help him, he's going to go down the rabbit hole of the medical community, and he's going to end up, this is the story, okay? My story that I'm making up. That he's going to end up drugged out, placed in front of a television. And then I get to the feeling of this, and the feeling is, I'm so sad. And then I let myself actually feel that. I'm just so sad. And then I take this story and this emotion, and I move them apart. And I'm going to move them all the way as far as my arms will reach away from my body. And when my arms are all the way out, you'll feel, if you do this, you'll feel a disconnect between the story and the emotions. And so, in this instance, and sometimes I get it mixed up, but in this instance I have the emotions in the right, that's that, and the story in the left. So I let the emotions out of the right. Just just release them. These ones are kind of sticky, so I have to just shake my hand a little bit. Sometimes you don't have to do that. You just can release them. I'm going to release this sadness stuck with this story. And then I'm going to release this story. And then we notice a difference. And although I let the emotion related to the story, I let the emotion go, release the story. When I come back inside my body, I feel the grief. So, I was hoping that when I let the emotion off the story, I wouldn't feel the grief, but I have let the emotion off the story, and I do feel the grief. So, here we go. I'm just going to not sit in the grief, but take myself out of the body consciousness thought forms that are present, and I'm going to remove myself, and I'm going to take a higher perspective of this. So I'm going to go outside myself. And I'm going to invite my guide, one of my guides, Arlen. I'm going to invite Arlen in to speak to me about what I'm working with, because I can get myself out with a larger perspective. But I feel like Arlen can help me with my perspective while I'm out and observing myself. So I'm just going to ask Arlen if Arlen would just come in and assist me in this process. Glad to help. Yeah, it's so you can possibly relate to how tightly held this energy is. If you've watched so far and you felt this process, you can feel a person who is holding on for dear life. And this is the friend. This is the friend that he perceives he's here to rescue. But he's rescuing a person who isn't letting go. It's an attempt to rescue a person who's holding on to his life. And holding on in a way that he really doesn't want it to change, because he doesn't know what's on the other side of it. So what we're going to do right now, because this person is meeting with two of his other friends who are very afraid for him. They're going to meet for their weekly indigestion of tacos. Okay, so already by having this up front and visible, this holding on, it's already started to loosen a bit. So we're just going to let it just free up and just go away. It was a thought form about someone, and it was holding that thought with them. And if both people are holding the thought, it tends to remain. This is true. This is true. We both know this is true. Therefore, we have to keep this there, because if we did this, then what's true? Oh, then this is true. But what is this? I'm giving you a moment to answer that. What is this? This is the present. I give to you the present, so that we both can have it. So we both can be in the present. Yeah, feel that energy. Now energy is beginning to move. And Stephen could have done all this. Stephen knows this. But Stephen was holding on to his thought forms with all the energies associated with them. And by doing that, agreeing with the world's perception. Which during a time of massive change, one might individually want to be willing to give up the world's perception of itself and go into this expanded consciousness. And notice how everything is there. To release to release the suffering of the world, one has to let go of it. One has to let go of suffering. Because you cannot wash the windows of the world and expect they're going to stay clean. When the dust and the rains and the leaves and the debris is constantly being stirred up, and one maybe has a thought form that if I just hold the image of the world without those things, it'll get better. Might get better. Might not. But one thing is that it continually changes. And Stephen can continually change through choice. And the choice is to let go or not to let go. To suffer or not to suffer. Stephen heard in a talk given by a medical doctor who had taken on the larger perspective of whole health healing, and he was part of a Whole Health Institute group. And he had a holistic practice in the 1980s, before they were just even starting to emerge. And he gave a talk and he said these words: all pain is stuck energy. And how does energy get stuck? We have an experience, we hold on to the emotions of that experience, and our energy gets stuck. And when life attempts to free it up, we attempt to glue it back stronger because we don't want to face it. It's too painful. So we hold on to it and we increase our pain. I was on the phone with a lovely client friend of mine. It wasn't a session. It was, but it wasn't. And it was about suffering, and about the cause of suffering, and about the awareness of what was causing the suffering, and then the reason why one couldn't let go of that habit that would release the pain and suffering. And I'm going to ask Stephen to go back to the tree. Just go back to the tree. Because I'm speaking to you. And you can listen, or you can ignore, or you can hum inside yourself, I don't hear you, I don't hear you. But this video is going to be present. And it's going to be sitting there somewhat haunting you until you come back and listen to this later and change. Because if you don't change, whatever you're doing will continue to do what it does. And when you change, you open, you connect. Okay, did you feel it? We're going to do it again. You open, you connect. Feel that. Happen a little bit more. You open, you connect. We're just going to keep doing it. You open, you connect. You open, you connect. And now you feel that energy moving. And the feeling is thrilling. The feeling is that a breeze is just blowing through your field. The feeling can be you're standing on the edge of a cliff and you're looking out and the world is large and you're thinking like, I can soar in that world. but not if I don't let go. Not if I don't jump in to that world. And so, metaphorically and energetically, you can stand here and think about how nice it would be if you let go and flew. The fear. You just feel the fear rising. Oh, yeah. You're a bird, a big bird, really. A big bird in the nest on the edge of a cliff. And there's only one way out. So Stephen stepped back in, took the jump, took the leap of faith, went out into that air, into that spirit, found he could fly, and then said, but that doesn't solve my problem. And I say to him, the problem that appears to you is yours. It's your creation. And can you stop creating it? Can you stop creating a problem that you then attempt to solve? Can you begin to see the world not as a problem to be solved? Can you see the world, your world, inside you, as a place to love? Your body that houses you, a place to love. Your friends, 8 billion of them, as beings in bodies to love. You know the answer to this question. Can I love the world as it is. That's one question. The other question is, will I love the world as it is? Am I willing to allow it to change? I'm going to speak some words because I'm speaking to Stephen. So I'm going to speak some words to Stephen, but it might be useful for you to hear these words. There isn't anything that you can't do. Including enjoying this process. You can enjoy this process that you're going through by residing in your heart, residing in love, residing in your deep self, connected to your higher self, connected to your highest self, grounded into the healing center of the earth, open to the healing power of the oneness, working with the beings that love you so much, opening yourself to yourself, embodied on other levels, yourself, your higher self, your highest self, your deeper self. Notice the word self. Can you own yourself? And that's a question that you might explore. Can you own yourself? In all of its bigness, in all of its relationships, in all of the ideas floating around. In all of that, can you own yourself? Can you accept yourself? If necessary, can you forgive yourself? What would happen if you said yes? does. It gets very big. You are more than enough. You have the consciousness of the universe inside you. It's a matter of letting it into your awareness and letting go of the blocks that you discover. Just letting them go. The building blocks of your new world can't be used if they're bound up. Bound together and stuck in a corner. The building blocks of this new world can be moved around and creation can take place when they're freed up. Digest this. Watch it again if you need to. But know that those of us working with all these energies of people and spaces are here for you. Yeah. Think of us as your support staff. Think of us as the ones you can call upon to assist you to let go and change. A brighter future awaits you. Can you enjoy the process of moving into a brighter future? Can you release the binds that hold your building blocks tight and contracted and unavailable for use? Or can you just free that up so that when you need something you can reach over and take it, place it in place? Connected with everything, supported by everything, with the whole world available to you. All that energy, all that energy, all that energy. Right here. Not here. There is energy here, but not here. Here. Let your choices come from here. Let the movement of energy assist you to move. Okay, it's been good sharing with you. See if there's things that you do to change, and see if those things that you do to change help you to feel like you're more in the flow of what's going on. And you can allow yourself to enjoy this process. Peace on earth, goodwill to everyone. Stephen's saying, now you say, now must go. And it's like, now must go. Namaste. Now must go. Namaste. Now must go. Namaste.